What did Neville Goddard say about not taking action? I got this question on my latest YouTube video, and it's a phenomenal one. Like, hey, Neville Goddard actually talked about not needing to lift a finger, not needing to take any action, but that you would have inspired action. At least this is how I've always read his content. And I wanted to talk about that and answer that question today in this video. So that's what we're going to discuss is what did Neville Goddard say about taking action? And what does that kind of mean? How do you use that when you're using his tools and you're looking at kind of the way that you want to spend your life and your days? He says to realize your desire, an action must start in your imagination, apart from the evidence of the senses, involving movement of self and implying fulfillment of your desire. Whenever it is the action which the outer self takes to appease desire, that desire will be realized. And so I wanted to talk about what this means to me, the way that I've always read it, the way that I've seen it, kind of how I've seen this work in my life, and how my impression is of how this can work in your life. So essentially, what Neville is saying is the action's always going to start in your imagination. And really, whether you want it to or not, that's where action is going to begin, even if you're trying to, like, quote unquote, not have it start there. If you really look at life, there's nothing that doesn't start up here first. Like everything starts in your imagination. You have to have a cue that tells your brain to do something for everything that you're going through in life. That's going to include getting up to brush your teeth. It's going to include going to work, putting on your clothes, taking a shower. There's some sort of cue that's always triggering you to do something else. And that all starts within your mind, your imagination. And how I've seen what Neville is talking about is not saying that you're just going to sit on your couch and do absolutely nothing your entire life and just wait for everything to come to you. Instead, you're not going to force action. So when you are within a state, you're going to have natural actions and desires and next steps, right? That you're going to take. And I explained this in another video by if you were super healthy on top of your game, the healthiest you've ever been, every moment, let's say in the morning, you're faced with three different paths. I'm going to use three for today instead of the five that I used in the other video. And one of those is to get up and put on your workout clothes and go to the same workout class that you go to because you are fit and healthy and take really good care of yourself. And to you, that implies fit, healthy, and taking care of yourself. The other is to get up and eat half a dozen donuts. And then the third is to get up and have the fifth day of you not showering and then just go sit and scroll your phone for an hour. Because you view yourself within the state that you're in as this happy, healthy, fit person who is like their happiest, healthiest self, then you would take the action that naturally aligned to that and said to you, this is who I am, which means you would get up, put on your workout clothes, and go to your workout class. This would be a natural action that you would take based on the state that you're dwelling in, based on the state that you're already in. That's just kind of your natural steps. It's the same way that if you know that you're a mother or a parent, your natural step is going to be something you do for your children, right? Like I wake up in the morning, my kids are some of the first things on my mind. I'm helping making sure that they're getting a good day, that we're talking, that I'm getting them off to school. That's not a forced action that I have to take. I'm taking that because that's part of my identity as a mother who does these kind of things. Now, if you take a step back though, and let's say that you are putting yourself in a state that you're going to meet the dream man of your life, and this is a very dramatic example just to kind of drive home my point. And you say, I'm going to meet this dream man and everything's going to be fantastic. And this is the way it goes. And I feel so loved. And right now, internally, I know that I have this feeling. So this is going to externalize for me. The desire has started. I've put myself in this state. This is going to happen. But I'm just going to sit on my couch. I'm not going to go anywhere. Something would probably happen that would force you to go somewhere. Like you would run out of food and have to go to the grocery store. You would attempt to do an order and people wouldn't be able to get to your house. There would be something weird. Or even like to do a super dramatic example, your kitchen would light on fire and you would have an inspired action without you realizing it. You would just naturally call 911 and the firemen who showed up, you guys looked into each other's eyes and fell in love. This is what I believe happens with inspired action. That's what it means. You naturally are going to take this step. You are naturally going to end up finding yourself exactly where you need to be for this to happen, but you're not forcing it. You're not saying, "Oh, I'm going to purposely go to a specific grocery store because the guy at work that I have a crush on goes to that grocery store." Like, it's that is you kind of trying to force an action, and if you're forcing that action, then you're not really dwelling in the state that you think you are. It's the same as using like an example of checking someone's Instagram, right? Like you're really gaga over this person and you want them to pay attention to you and you want to have this connection, but you're constantly checking to see if they're dating somebody else or if they're doing something behind your back or what kind of events are they doing in their life. And you're checking their Instagram like 12 times a day. That kind of action is showing the state that you're in, and it's not the state of being in love. It's not the state of feeling love for yourself. It's not the state of showing yourself, forgiveness and joy and having excitement in your life. So I hope that answers the question. When Neville talks about not taking action, this is what I believe. The action starts in your mind, and then you follow these natural steps. Now let's talk about how you use this for your own insight and to use it in your actual own life. When you think about the actions that you naturally want to take each day, what do you want to do when you wake up? How are the behaviors that you fall into each and every day? Are you naturally doing things that make you feel joy and happiness and love? Or are you tending to fall into kind of habit loops that instead are a bit of desperation, feeling sad, unloved, states of poverty, whatever it is? I don't want to only make this about love, but it can be about anything. And so you can use that for your advantage because when you actually start to pay attention to the behaviors that you have every day, it gives you a cue into what state are you actually coming from. When I started working on this stuff, my state just naturally started to shift. As I worked on like my own emotional intelligence, I was able to lean into my emotional reactions, giving me insight into what I was thinking, where I was dwelling, what were the things that I was focused on, and was it actually aligned to this person that I wanted to be? And that's why a lot of times I recommend that you start asking yourself the question of, how do I want to feel when I go to bed at night? Is this behavior aligned to that feeling that I want to have? Because if it's not, there's no reason to beat yourself up. You can just say, why? What state am I actually coming from when it comes to this? So if you're looking for wealth and then you're finding yourself in this like state of panic all day over, bills or buying yourself a coffee, or you're just feeling like that dread. And I've been there, trust me. I used to definitely struggle financially, and I would have this like sense of dread sometimes of thinking, like if my husband came to me and was like, "Oh, I was thinking we could go to the movies." My reaction used to be like, crap, like, oh my gosh, okay, so that's tickets, and then we got to buy this, and we got to buy this, and how much is this going to cost? And can we go maybe when it's like a matinee time? And that was fine. Honestly, I'm not beating myself up for the fact that I felt that way. But what I would be able to do is say, okay, if those are my feelings, I'm truly not dwelling in a state of abundance. I'm not dwelling in a state of everything being good for me and working out for me. So, what am I actually doing? What can I change within my day, the habits that I'm having, the routines that I'm having that would more align me with this desired outcome? And the way that you can start this, especially in the beginning, is by just finding pockets of joy to give yourself. That's why I'm always saying, like, do the daily joys. Find things that you enjoy, start adding those to your day, really start building up on these daily joys and feeling of gratitude that maybe is not necessarily specifically about your desired outcome. And it's not necessarily the techniques that you're putting into play, because the techniques are going to only take you so far. The techniques are there to help you feel that feeling of the wish fulfilled. They don't actually hold the power. The power comes in from that assumption and that state that you're dwelling in. So when Neville says, hey, don't take action, I don't think he's saying like lock yourself in a closet and never move, right? Never go outside in the world, never experience anything. That's never how I've taken anything of what he said. But you're not forcing an action. You would naturally fall into habits, routines, and activities and opportunities you would naturally fall into those based on the state that you're in. So I hope that answers the question. If not, definitely leave me a comment down below. I'm happy to answer more and go into a bit more detail. Thank you.